fair and square and made it look kind of easy. Now, the criticism is that he was coasting. Okay, and I get that, and I even said a little bit myself. I said I would have liked to have seen a more sense of urgency to finish. However, the reality is that when you're in there, it's a game of inches or centimeters or millimeters. Okay, one little mistake and everything can go wrong. And yeah, sure, granted, I did say he played it a little bit safe, but you got to understand what's going on. I know what you're going to say. The problem is, and I'm assuming this is what a lot of you are going to say, because I see it. I see what people say in the comments and on Twitter and online. They said the problem is that Izzy goes out there every time and promises a masterpiece. He said that against Cannonier. This was going to be like Anderson Silva versus Forrest Griffin. Now, of course, it wasn't. It was a relatively one-sided decision. Okay, and it wasn't the most amazing fight. It certainly didn't replicate Anderson versus Forrest Griffin. But that's okay. Izzy has his next opponent. He's fighting Alex Pereira. Okay, he said on his YouTube channel that a date has been booked. He hasn't revealed it, but I'm not surprised. Izzy said that he wanted to fight 3 or 4 times this year, okay? And he took no damage in the last fight, and he's good to go. Alex Pereira took no damage in the last fight, knocked out Sean Strickland very quick. Adesanya criticised Sean Strickland and said, hey, you should have been more focused on your opponent instead of trying to sell a fight with me. And he's right. I think Sean got a little sidetracked talking shit to Israel Adesanya and kind of forgot about the kickboxing threat that Pereira had. And of course, we know the kickboxing threat was good enough to knock out Israel Adesanya in one of the 2 fights that they had. And that's why this fight's so interesting. We all know it. I'm not saying anything new. Pereira has 2 victories over Adesanya in kickboxing fights. One was incredibly close. One ended up with a knockout with Adesanya hitting the canvas due to a left hook. So a lot of people think, well, this is just going to be a kickboxing fight. Okay? Adesanya's going to get beat by Pereira. I don't see it like that. Now, the first kickboxing fight that they had was incredibly close. Adesanya claims he should have won. Close fights, people always claim that, okay? But Pereira got the job done. Second time out, Adesanya says, I was winning until he caught me. Well, again, that's what you would say. So there's nothing wrong with Adesanya saying that. That's what you would say. But my analysis, and I haven't studied Pereira endlessly, but when you look at Adesanya, I said this when I commentated this fight, he is one of the most sophisticated strikers. He sets up so many traps. His reflexes are insane, okay? The ability, the speed, the shots that he can throw, they are delivered so well. He uses feints so well. He's got a great fight IQ, and he's very, very strategic. On top of that, he's tall, he's long. Okay, so there are natural advantages that he has over most of his opponents. He won't have those advantages over Alex Pereira. Okay, he's just as tall, he's probably just as long, and he's also a very good kickboxer that's beaten him twice. But he's rough, he's raw, he's a bit more rugged, he's not as technical as Adesanya. He's not, but he takes more chances. That's why he got that knockout. And he kind of has to, because the way that he fights is much more forward. He's a pressure guy, he goes forward, doesn't use his reach as well as Adesanya does. But this is going to be an interesting fight. Adesanya coming into this one, obviously, will feel like Pereira's trying to come and take everything that he's worked for, right? To build the legacy that he has. The riches, the fame, the fortune, the cars, the houses, the jewelry, okay? Pereira is a real threat of taking all that away. But will he do that? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think between the time of them 2 fighting a long time ago, I think Adesanya has improved so much. When you find at this level in the UFC, you got no choice but to get better. I think Adesanya probably takes it. I think Adesanya probably wins the rematch once and for all. And then he can finally get rid of the bogeyman. Because it is a bogeyman for Adesanya. Even though he won't admit it, he's going to be like, oh, for fuck's sake, here he is again. This guy, Pereira, trying to take everything I worked for.